One of the most common questions I get from my GRE, GMAT, TOEFL and other students is it possible to handle time pressure, particularly for reading comprehension? And how do you do it? All those tips and techniques I give in other videos, which I'd urge you to check out for reading comprehension, are they really possible if you're under immense time pressure? Well, part of the answer is no, right? Obviously, if you only have a minute left and there's a whole passage, you're going to have to guess. But if you have just a few minutes left, you can still apply these techniques, and that's what this video is designed to persuade you of. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to attempt 2 passages, one under normal time pressure, and one I'm going to give myself a crazy time limit and try to answer all the questions correctly, obviously, under that time limit. These are official questions that I've never seen before, and you'll see my reaction live, so to speak, in terms of whether I get them right or wrong and how I apply my techniques. Obviously, some things are going to change. I'm not going to be able to stop and summarize as often. My critical engagement might be a bit sharper. My predictions a bit briefer. I might skip over a few words. There are lots of tiny things you can do to trim off some time. I might not check every single answer, but you're going to see me in 2 modes. Normal mode, under normal time conditions, and then fast mode. Again, obviously, if you only have like 60 seconds, 90 seconds, you're going to have to guess. It's very difficult to answer a passage in that time, but just 2-3 minutes, you can still do it even under time pressure. If you want to, of course, you can answer along with me as we read the passages together and see if you can beat what I do or match it. If not, you can just relax and just see how I approach these questions when I'm getting stressed. You're not going to be stressed, you're going to be watching me, but I might be stressed because I'll be under time pressure. But you'll see that and hopefully learn something from it. Before I get to the questions, if in any way you find this video helpful, please leave a comment and leave a like. It really helps boost the YouTube algorithm so many more thousands of people can learn from the techniques that I've honed over these years. Thank you for watching, and let's get to the questions. So for this question, which I haven't seen before, I'm going to go at my genuine speed, try and get it right, and see how we go. I'm also going to time it, of course, aiming for between 3 to 4 minutes, because I believe there are only 2 questions here, 12 and 13. Okay, let's go. Geese can often be seen grazing in coastal salt marshes. Unfortunately, their intense grazing removes the grassy covering, exposing marsh sediment. This increases evaporation, which in turn increases salt concentration. That's probably not good. Because of this increased concentration, regrowth of plants is minimal, leading to increased erosion, which leads to a decrease in the fertile topsoil, leading to even less regrowth. So these darn geese are eating the marshes, and that's increasing salt, and that's leading to less fertile topsoil. In time, the salt marsh becomes a mud flat. This process challenges one of the most widely held beliefs about the dynamics of salt marsh ecosystems. Supposedly, consumers such as geese do not play a large role in controlling the productivity of marsh systems. Rather, the standard view claims marshes are controlled by bottom-up factors such as nutrients and physical factors. So this person's saying, no, it's the geese coming along, eating the marsh or whatever, leaving salt and causing a mud flat eventually. Okay. The author discusses the standard view, line 14, most likely in order to identify a view that, well, this is something the author doesn't agree with, right? The author's saying it's the geese, the standard view is saying it's these other factors, nutrients, physical factors. Explains the occurrence of a chain of events described in the passage, no. Provides a summary, no. Is called into question, absolutely, by the chain of events. C, very sure. Advocates reassessment of, no. Is undermined by the widely held belief described in the passage. That's close. It's undermined by the... I don't think this is widely held, though. I think it's just describing a chain of events, isn't it? Is this a widely held belief? No, it doesn't say that this is a widely held belief. This is a process, a chain of events. I'm going to go for C. According to the passage, which of the following is a widely held belief about geese? Why did they say widely held belief? Here we go. Well, that's about the soil. But anyway, I guess that they're not a factor. That's my prediction. They are not often seen grazing in coastal salt marshes. No, they can often be seen. They are not the primary consumers. No, they play only a minor role in the productivity. That was the widely held belief, that they play a minor role, and it turns out they play a major role, right? So I'm going to probably go with C, not D, because they're not primary, they control the productivity. No, that's not what people believe. People believe they play a small role, and it turns out they play a large role. So I'm going to go for C again. Now, according to my timer, that took about 3 minutes, which is perfect. I don't know where to find the answers to this, so I'm going to have to scroll down and find the answer somewhere, and I'll get back to you to see if I'm right. So I checked, and I'm happy to say they're both right, and it was a relatively difficult choice, a couple of them. I had to double check what was believed about geese and what wasn't believed about geese. But we got there in 3 minutes. We engaged with the text, critically analysed it, made a few predictions, and that helped us along the way. But now we're going to try something harder. We're going to do a passage, and we're going to try and do it at least a minute faster than we're allowed to. We're going to pretend we're under extreme time pressure and we have to get through it. Now, of course, there's no way you can read a whole passage and get all the answers right in like a minute and a half or something. But I'm going to go as fast as I can, imagining I'm down to my last question. I only have a couple minutes left or whatever, maybe 3 minutes. So this was the next passage up in this practice test from ETS. And I haven't seen it before, again, and there are 3 questions, which would mean normally I'd have about 4.5 to 5 minutes to answer that if I built up a bit of extra time elsewhere. But let's imagine I only have strictly 4 minutes. I've got 4 minutes left, and I have to read this passage, which I haven't seen, and answer these, I believe, 3 questions. And that's quite a lot of time pressure. I might be able to do it even quicker or just over, we'll see. But this is how I react under time pressure. I'm just going to click my timer, and then we will get started. Historian Maitland observed that legal documents are the best, indeed the only evidence about the economic and social history of a given period. Why then is it taking so long for historians to focus systematically on the civil law of early modern England? Maitland offered one reason: the subject requires researchers to master an extremely formal system of pleading and procedure, so they're not up to it. Yet the complexities that confront those who would study such materials are not wholly different from those recently surmounted by historians of criminal law. So if they can do criminal law, why can't they do civil law in England during the same period? Another possible explanation for historians' neglect of the subject is their widespread assumption that most people in early modern England had little contact with civil law. I'm guessing they're about to say that they did. If that were so, the history of legal matters would be of so little relevance to general historical scholarship. So they're saying it's not relevant, that's why they're not studying it. But recent research suggests that civil litigation during the period involved artisans, merchants, loads of people, not just the male elite. Moreover, the later 16th and early 17th century saw an explosion in civil litigation by both women and men, making this the most litigious era in English history. So why aren't they studying it? It involved men, women, professionals, everyone. You should definitely study it. That's what they're kind of saying. The passage suggests that the history of criminal law in early modern England differs from the history of civil law during the same period. And the history of criminal law, they were saying, was recently surmounted by historians, as in they understood its complexities. So why don't they do that for civil law? Is of a more intellectual interest to historians and their readers. Don't think so. Has been studied more thoroughly, yes, because they studied criminal law, right, but not civil law. Just quickly check the others. Is more relevant? No. Does not require the mastery? No. I think the analogy was that it does require mastery, and that's why it's surprising they haven't done the same thing for civil law. So I'm going to go for B. The author of the passage mentions the occupations of those involved in civil litigation in early modern England, most likely in order to, I'm guessing it's going to be like to show that this is relevant. Like if all these different professions engaged with civil law, then surely historians should study it, right? Because so many people were involved in it. Anyway, suggests that most historians' assumptions about the participants are probably correct. Don't think so, because the historians are the ones that were getting it wrong. So can't be that. Support the theory that more people than the criminal. No, not more in civil than criminal. I don't think it ever compared them. Counter the claim that legal issues reveal more about than about its elite. No, because it never compared elite to normal people. Illustrate the wide range of people. Bingo. Wide range of people. Loads of professionals, men and women. Definitely D. The author of the passage suggests which are the following about the widespread assumption, line 15. So Explanation for historians' neglect of the subject is their widespread assumption that most people in early modern England had little contact with civil law. Well, that assumption was wrong, basically. That's what the author said. Because it is true, no, the assumption was wrong. Loads of people had contact with civil law. That's the whole point of the last paragraph. But because it's true, definitely not. Because it is inaccurate, the history of civil law in early modern England should enrich the general historical period. Yeah, probably say B. If we study it, it will enrich us. It is based on inaccurate data. No. Does not provide a plausible explanation. No. Based on an analogy. No. I'm going to go with B and stop the timer. 3.5 minutes. I'm going to have to find out what the right answers are because obviously I don't know at the moment. I've never seen this passage before. But timing wise, that's pretty good, right? So normally it would be 4.5 minutes. And I did that in 3.5. In fact, normally it would be 5 minutes, right? Because you'd have built up some time. But that's about as quick as you can go without starting to lose loads of marks for getting wrong answers. I could have maybe trimmed off 30 seconds just by picking an answer and not looking at the others. I could have trimmed off another 30 to 45 seconds. But that's about as fast as I can go at full speed. So I'm going to have to find out what the right answers were. I hopefully can get back and report to you that I got those right. But the main thing is you can see me genuinely coping with being under the clock, right? That was pretty exciting, pretty nerve-wracking, but I went fast, but I still tried to engage with the text, try to understand why is this author bothering to write it? What's going on here? What's the point? Why are you mentioning women? Why are you mentioning artisans, merchants? I get it, because you're trying to say that loads of people were involved in civil law, so it's not completely irrelevant. That kind of thing. You engage with the text, you get excited by it, you love it. Anyway, I'm going off on a rant. Let's check if I got it right. It would be hilarious if I got them all wrong. But yeah, let's find out. Boom. Philip strikes again. Got all of them right. Very proud of that. But I would be even more proud if you have taken away something. If you have just enough time, you can do it by engaging critically with the text and by predicting a few answers and just by enjoying it and getting excited by the text rather than thinking it's a horrible, dense load of information. You can always learn something about, well, usually England or America from these texts, or frogs or whatever it is going to be. But either way, really hope this video has helped. I really hope you're a bit less afraid about performing for reading comprehension questions under time pressure. It can be done. Stay excited, keep critically engaging and predicting answers. Just maybe skip over the occasional long list and maybe don't read every single answer choice. If you find a good one, just go for it. Of course, practice, as always, will make you quicker, and I have years of it, so that of course gives me an edge, but you can accumulate thousands of practice questions yourself, even in just a few weeks left before your exam. As always, thank you for watching and have a great day.